Well, good morning to everybody to this ASHRAE meeting from American University of Beirut. My name is Wolfgang Streicher. I'm from Austria, sitting in Austria, in Innsbruck, in the nice mountains. I had some projects with the University of Beirut. That's the connection to them with energy efficient buildings and renewable energies, making master's courses. I'm professor for energy efficient buildings and renewable energy and vice rector for infrastructure of my university. So today's program is about reform in sustainable energy and heating, ventilation, air conditioning, education and training. We have 4 speakers. First speaker is Anna Mavrogianni, Associate Professor, Sustainable Building and Urban Design, Deputy Director, Master Science of Health, Wellbeing and Sustainable Buildings at UCL. UCL is, you will tell me, in the UK, in the United Kingdom. So Anna, the floor is yours. Most welcome.
Great. Thank you very much all for attending, and thank you, Wolfgang, for the introductions. So I'll try to share my screen. So can you all see my screen now?
It's perfect.
Great. So I'll go on presenter mode. Okay. So hopefully you can see my full screen.
Yes. Yes. Everything's perfect. Give it a start.
So as you said, I'm the Deputy Program Director for a relatively new MSc program in Health, Wellbeing and Sustainable Buildings at UCL. We are part of the Institute for Environmental Design and Engineering, or IED for short, and we belong to the Bartlett Faculty of the Built Environment. So this is a relatively new program. We launched it back in 2017. And so why choose this program? What's what are the novel elements? So the main objective of this program is to train a new generation of professionals and researchers in order to work at this nexus of environmental sustainability, buildings that promote planetary health, and human health and well-being, so address those very complex synergies and conflicts we're currently facing as a society worldwide. So our teaching staff are top experts, leaders in the field of indoor environmental quality, healthy buildings, sustainable buildings, etc. And so we are hoping that students through this program will acquire knowledge and skills that will enable you to truly make a difference, of course, to their career as well as to society via changes in the built environment. And they will have an edge when entering the job market. So what was the motivation behind establishing this new MSc program? We were trying to address a number of key societal challenges, this being, of course, anthropogenic climate change. So for many decades now, there has been a significant emphasis on energy efficient building design, so reducing carbon emissions from the building sector in order to achieve our climate mitigation targets. But there have been a lot of questions with regards to how this affects occupant health, well-being and productivity. And within our institute, myself and colleagues, for many years now, we have been carrying out a lot of research in the area of unintended consequences of energy efficient design on overheating, air quality and more broadly health and well-being. And there has been a lot of focus on this need to adopt a holistic design approach. And of course, we are also looking at the impact of climate change on health and the need for climate change adaptation of buildings. Another challenge is, of course, air pollution, both indoors and outdoors, and answering the question, how can we design and operate buildings to minimize the effects of air pollution, both from outdoor and indoor sources. And I think, again, in recent years, there has been increasing awareness of the importance and adverse health effects of ambient outdoor air pollution, but less so on indoor air pollution. However, the COVID-19 crisis and the fact that many of us now have to work from home, etc., I think they have shed light on the importance of indoor air quality as well. Another significant challenge is demographic changes in global health. How do we cater for an aging population in the built environment? And what are the challenges of growing planetary population levels for building designers? Sustainable development is at the core of our research. How do we support human health and well-being whilst also pursuing sustainable resource consumption? And of course, how do we achieve economic productivity? So how do we create a built environment that supports health, well-being and productivity? And this is very much the nexus within which we're working, the links between environmental sustainability, planetary health, and human health and well-being. So I guess most of our audience will be familiar with the Sustainable Development Goals. They are kind of a blueprint for sustainable development. And you can see there a number of those targets prominently featuring alongside climate action, so reduction of poverty, health and well-being, reducing inequalities, etc. So this is what we're trying to achieve through the these are the areas in which we are trying to train in this new generation of professionals to address those very complex challenges. And this is a recent document that was produced, co-authored by our program director, Dr. Helen Pino, that might be of interest again to our audience, looking at cities, health and well-being. So we're looking both at the building as well as the urban scale. And of course, there have been significant advances made in the field in recent years. So again, you might be familiar with, of course, environmental rating systems such as LEED and BREEAM. But of course, in recent years, we also have the establishment of schemes that focus on well-being in the context of the built environment, such as WELL and FitWell. So we are aligned with those standards as well. And and of course, we recognize this significant rise in the well-being agenda, the rise of health and wellness, and how it has become quite a multi-million industry worldwide. But of course, we are trying to address how any changes, any best practice guidance in terms of building design is based on evidence-based information. So these are some industry views on our MSc. From various organizations. So I'll just read out one of them from Lynn Sullivan, architect and chair of RIBA Sustainable Future and Good Homes Alliance, who she says that she has no hesitation in recommending this program for architects wishing to develop their knowledge and skills for health and well-being of users. Now, the question is, what jobs could our graduates go into? So, of course, the roles might be less defined as opposed to, say, the graduates of other MSc programs, because it's an emergent field. And but the majority of our graduates go into consultancy, the more traditional route, advising on design, operation, and assessment of buildings and or neighborhoods, urban design. They go into architecture and engineering firms. They might develop in-house building design and operational teams advice. They might work in public sector agencies, for example, policy or social housing. And of course, some of them have gone into developing their own startups, looking into product and service innovation companies. Oops. In last year, we had a big event exploring the state of the art in research and practice for healthy and sustainable buildings, and there is a link there for the full report. And of course, as I said, we're part of UCL and the Bartlett, UCL was established over 180 years ago, and it was the first university in England to admit students of any race, class or religion, and the first to welcome women on equal terms with men. So we're very proud of our heritage. And yeah, it's located in the center of London, of course. some of these the student experience is slightly different this year because of COVID-19 and the various constraints we're currently facing. And the Bartlett is UCL's global faculty of the built environment. It's the largest postgraduate faculty in the UK, and it was ranked first in the UK and third in the world for architecture and the built environment, according to the QS World University Rankings this year. So our institute is a part of the Bartlett, and it's really a multidisciplinary institution. And we have these links, very strong links between, of course, academics and policy, as well as industry professionals. And our academic excellence is reflected by the fact that we have received 3 prestigious 5-year platform grants awarded to world-leading research groups. And we have 4 research themes: the built environment, building performance and processes, health, well-being and human performance, where this MSc belongs, outdoor environment and systems thinking. And our directors, Professor Dejan Mumovic and Professor Mike Davies, with a very strong track record in research in this area. And of course, this is the range of our facilities. Again, this year, students have not been able to access them or use them fully, again, because of the challenges we're facing due to the lockdown. And I will just very quickly go through an overview. So these are the modules we are offering. So in term 1, students are introduced to health, comfort and well-being in the built environment, methods of environmental analysis, theory and practice of well-being in buildings, and integrated building design. This is the module that I lead. And in term 2, they look at indoor air quality, health and well-being at an urban scale, and then there is a range of optional modules that focus on different aspects of healthy buildings, such as light and lighting, acoustics, and designing inclusive places. And then term 3 is dedicated to the dissertation. So I won't go through this in a lot of detail because I'm mindful of the time, but please feel free to send me an email if you'd like any additional information. So this is just a kind of a glance of student activities. Again, this is all pre-COVID. Unfortunately, this year we had to deliver the program online. And these are just some examples from the courseworks for the integrated design module that I lead. So students were invited to produce a group coursework, a design of a small-scale building, taking into account of a number of complex challenges in an urban environment. So I'm quite proud of their results. And of course, our students are introduced to a range of software packages, such as Design Builder, for dynamic thermal performance simulation and indoor air quality modeling. And we have an excellent advisory group which provide those links to industry and government to inform our curriculum. So we're constantly revising our curriculum based on the feedback we received from our advisory board. And these are our advisory board members. A student called. So yeah, so this is our website, and please feel free to post any questions you might have about the MSc program using this email address. We have a LinkedIn and Twitter page. So yeah, feel free to contact me at the end of this event if you'd like to find out more. So thank you so much for listening. I'll try to stop sharing my screen.
Well, thank you very much, Anna, for this very nice and brief introduction. What you're doing in London. I forgot to tell the audience we have in the chat module, there is another one, it's called Q&A. So you can post questions there and we will deal with them at the end of all the 4 speeches. Currently no poster there. So thank you again. Thank you very much and good luck to London. We are all facing the same problems in the universities with lockdowns and everything, but well, we have to be relaxed. We have to keep relaxed. There's no other way to pass it. Thanks a lot. So, well, I will introduce now the next speaker, well-known Nesreen Ghaddar, becoming a good friend with all within our projects. And I think she is well-known. She's a professor of mechanical engineering. I must admit, we have about 2 or 3% of students in mechanical engineering are women in my country, so that's even more especially. She's coordinator of Master's Energy Studies on online diploma in building energy systems. Of course, she's professor in the American University of Beirut, and she's here, our conference chair. So she organized the whole thing here in Ashray. Thanks a lot for doing that, Nasreen. Best wishes to Beirut. So you know all the boundary conditions, so just give it a start. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Wolfgang, and thank you, Anna, for really the fascinating program that you have built. I will have some questions about it later on, because this idea of something interdisciplinary and integrative has been always on my mind while we were going through the journey of the program development. And this program development has happened really with the interaction of many of the European colleagues through projects and so on. And I'm still learning, it seems. And that's why I gave the title for my presentation as follows. It's Energy, Sustainability and Buildings, Curriculum in Transition. I feel like for the past 15 years, I've been going through program development and evolving, probably to get to the point that you have at UCL. But you know, the challenges we have in our region are too many to get things on the fast track. So the first slide is really because, you know, we are targeting buildings, the indoor environment, and as you said, for the well-being and health of people and their productivity. I would like to mention something about the field where we are today, the field and the need. The need is related to the market, and the field is what is happening to us while we are trying to teach such applied topic that requires many expertise. The field is changing. The changing field is really targeting holistic, sustainable engineering solutions. No one discipline can give you the answer. The intertwined relation of health and built environment and occupants. That's another dimension that used to be overlooked 20 years ago. Advancements in building materials, technologies, systems, processes, growing fast towards more human-centered designs and so on. Then the increased production of new research at universities with local and global relevance. And this happened to us. The research boomed here in this area, and programs was one way to translate it into the practice. Development and integration of smart data-driven technologies in the HVAC industry. How can I put all of that in curriculum? So the market need of professionals with up-to-date skills, because any of these things require some more training and upgrading of skills for me and the practitioners. The post-pandemic dimension for holistic building design strategies and standards. Now with COVID-19 and trying to prevent the disease transmission and so on, there are all sorts of new information happening that practitioners need to know about. More industries are involved in upgrading products and producing new ones to comply with changing standards for combating global warming. And remember that these standards are coming up, are taken over by professional societies like ASHRAE and other organizations in the air conditioning and refrigeration industry that set the standards and we follow. Need for a fast path to translate this new research production and technology to practice and to the market. In addition, there is a change in the professionals' profiles. Those who would like to study HVAC, they are not just engineers and architects. We're getting interest from many people in the field with very different background than engineering. So these profiles, their interests are changing, and this is why we needed to think of how to do, train and offer programs that are appealing. So for me, I just want to put my experience. How did the AUB respond in curriculum reform to keep pace with the changing field, environment, and people needs? Since 2008, there has been 3 programs in varying modalities that were launched at AUB to cater to the evolving discipline and needs of professionals in the market. The first one in 2008 we actually started a Master of Engineering, Major Applied Energy. That was in Mechanical Engineering Department, and really it targeted buildings and HVAC, but it was very, I will talk about it shortly. In 2015, we ended up offering an online professional diploma in green technologies with the 3 concentration in energy, water, and buildings. And basically, this was new. It was the first online program in the region that is targeting an area that it is not possible to get such up-to-date information in courses with material that you don't find in textbooks. And then in 2018, we started with a new project to reform the courses of the Master of Engineering, Major Applied Energy. And then recently, we just launched a new program that emerged from this, but it was an online graduate diploma in building energy systems. So it's like something, you know, we are moving with time. But what was the impact of these programs? Since 2008, we have like 40 plus master thesis students who have completed their thesis in that area. We've had 150 plus research articles from different AUB faculty members who are in mechanical or outside mechanical engineering that are published, spanning diverse topics and collaborations in the field from different disciplines. We had several graduates in key positions in consulting firms in Lebanon. Actually, there was a minor that has been offered to undergraduate in applied energy that required 15 credits of core courses from the applied energy courses and others. And then we went for the online professional diploma. The total number so far of students enrolled in the program is 224. 60 plus pro-green students have graduated already since 2016. And in 2019, 25 actually completed the diploma. The new diploma just started with a smaller number of courses, but 6 students are currently enrolled with a lot of interest in the program, and it's in the beta launch. The difference between these two that is this diploma, its credits are transferable to regular master program. What I think the impact of this is increased outreach and participation in professional activities, webinars, and so on, increased research collaboration within universities in Europe and the region, and increased number of externally funded projects. If I go to the diploma, it was interesting because lots of females were interested in the diploma. If I look at the age distribution, it shows you that even people who are in the market are looking for programs by which, you know, through which they can gain new skills. By specialization, people were between energy and buildings most, less in water. Student diversity, mainly the students were from Middle East, 28% from Africa. We had students from US, Australia, and Europe. And by background, notice that we've had business students, arts and humanities. I think this was interesting to us, students from sciences, architecture, and engineering. Now, the learning curve for us to be responsive in our offerings. We arrived at that point after lots of iterations, feedback, and interactions with stakeholders. In depth, we asked the questions: how to reach out to professionals who are not seeking graduate degrees, how to ensure that offerings are current and responsive to changing field and practice, and how can the research we do make its way to the industry and benefit people who have the general good and meet the goals and the mission that we have. So the following slides are going to illustrate this experience. So for the Master of Engineering, Major Applied Energy, really what was offered, we had a set of, it's like regular program, looked very traditional, with 30 credits for a master degree, the thesis. I mean, students can find these at the website. And what it requires, there are 9 credits of core courses. What was new about this at the time was really offering something about energy economics and policy, all right? This was something that students find very popular. then looking at the indoor environment at the time, or energy system modeling. So students had to choose these. They had a lot of hands-on experience by choosing 3 credits of 1 lab course. Then they have a list of technical electives that are related to this. So in 2016, the program was reformed, introducing a non-thesis option, as well as increasing thesis credit to be very similar to the regular program. In 2019, several courses were revised using modular topic changes with the new lab experiments added and so on. And this is thanks to the EU partner institutions who supported us through the HIBA project. And that HIBA project is still ongoing, but it has enriched our experience, allowed us to have our courses upgraded, introducing new topics, and so on. So the initial program in 2008 was funded by a campus project. Then in 2016, 17, 18, this is when we got the new HIBA project to reform the curriculum. But we did that. But then this was one way to do it. Yani sorry, yeah. So what helped and what is next? Through these support programs, for education, we upgraded the lab resources, we have new experiments, we enhanced the research infrastructure. We've invested like around $400,000 in the past 10 years just in climatic chambers, mechanical instrumentation, not to mention other resources that we've put into this, upgraded the software. We've done a lot of research in thermal comfort, energy efficiency, indoor air quality. Will interest of students really improved for both undergraduate offering and graduate. And then it catered for the PhD students. And we have established an energy efficiency renewable energy lab in cooperation with LU, but we are still, of course, we're putting here the services that we will offer the industry at the AUB. And then these are the services at the Lebanese University. I think my colleague will talk about that. Elias Kinab will mention this. We never got to sign yet the agreement because of the lockdown, but this is gonna happen. With regard to the diploma had 18 credits in 3 concentrations, and students had to do a project or a webinar. This was also another campus EU project, but has been sustained. We're offering around 35 courses in this, 37 instructors from 3 institutions, LAU and AUC, and us coordinating this project. And it has a diverse students and international advisory board. And we've offered employers, special corporate count to get into this diploma. So the program, the online program, we built out our e-learning services. We had faculty training to online modality because that program started in 2015. So when we had to change to online, this thing has helped a lot. We managed to automate all academic processes from application to graduation at the time, and we had the quality assurance documented of all learning outcomes. But at the time, and this frequently came up, students were asking, how can they transfer the credits to regular master program? Because this looked like a professional diploma. So this is when we decided that we're gonna move into changing part of the applied energy to a regular, to online formality, but with a credit transfer. So this is the new program that has been coming out with the support of the HIBA project, the funded project. This funded project, by the way, the HIBA is coordinated by University of Innsbruck, and Dr. Wolfgang is really the coordinator, the PI of that project. And that's why we've become good friends. So online graduate diploma in building energy systems, what is really offered? This is 12 credits. They take 6 credits of core courses about energy efficient buildings and IAQ, and then energy economics and policy with 6 credits of elective courses. All courses were developed through interactive modular format that allows to maximize the flexibility in our offerings. What featured this program, the credits are transferable to regular masters, develop skills for business startups with the introduction of 2 new courses about technology transfer and entrepreneurship in sustainable and renewable energy solutions to building efficiency issues. And the other one is about principles of integrated building design, construction, and operation for sustainability. Both these courses are under development now. It captures different audience than the program. We're looking for young engineers seeking to continue graduate work without leaving their jobs, those who are seeking to shift careers, and fresh graduates seeking to enhance their expertise in the field. And also because it's online, it's an attraction for international students interested in the climate of our region. So this is just like the Moodle platform, and for the first course, I'm offering one of the courses now online in this diploma. And what the 3 offered programs that I've just mentioned have taught us or demonstrated so far, I'm getting close to the end of this. We have a set of programs that have put academics in constant connection with professionals, regardless of their location. I would have to say that I learned a lot from the students who actually were enrolled in the diploma as practitioners, because many times they initiate the ideas. Whatever I give, they try to practice. We have equipped the professionals with soft skills and tools. Research outcomes have a faster path to market adoption acceptability because many of these consultants, so on, they work in offices and they can influence selection, customer choices and designs. Research has become more oriented towards industry needs, and then partnerships with other universities that really, the valuable exchanges and most up-to-date knowledge in different areas between universities and with professionals. And actually, we managed to build a community of professionals who are engaged, have presence in our activities, our webinars, conferences, networking, sponsorship, and training. Anytime we offer any activity related to the program, we get to our alumni in the 3 programs that I've mentioned, and we see them. The International ASHRI Conferences in Efficient Building Design started in 2014, and now we are in 2020, we are here. All of these were face-to-face, but now we had to offer this online, and I'm still seeing the benefit of really continuing with this online delivery. Everybody who has been in here are still in connection with us, and I think most of who attended our previous conferences are attending this conference as well. So by closing the loop, we have, the research feeds into our postgraduate programs, online and regular. These online programs, they're actually taught to professionals or students who can have 2 paths. One to research, to feed into more research and PhD, but the others in the field who actually impact the industry. And then the industry feeds into the research questions that come here, become our research questions. So we feel like we have influence for expanding the market through research and development, but also because our research are in these courses and in these projects. But so we are influencing the market through this. But then we also respond to the emerging labor markets from the industry. When you have all these changes, you have a curriculum that is constantly being updated. This is really a challenge. And the key for having the curriculum becoming, to be constantly relevant, responding to need, is basing it on a constant interaction and drawing of resources between student, faculty, organization, university resources, labs, and the industry. What we want to create, and I think what we need to get to, is to have a community of professionals with business boosters and startups, because we have that network where to take it. Hopefully this is going to be the next. So we go in this, like you identify market needs, you incorporate state-of-the-art knowledge generated locally, and then you get into a dynamic program that constantly delivers value. And you continue this loop. I hope, yani, this is how I see the whole curriculum in education. Now, this is why I was commenting on Anna's program, because really it looked ideal, much better developed maybe in terms of content with the focus on the human and well-being. And this is basically the ultimate outcome of our research. Thank you.
Well, Nasreen, thank you very much. And what I like, you are really burning for that, and this is what I really love, and that's why we become so good friends on the whole issue.
Yeah, I know, we share the same interests.
And of course, as the chair of the conference, you are allowed to speak a bit longer. but
Thank you.
But when professors start to speak, I know it from myself, so I won't speak too much. No problem. So thanks a lot again, and if you have any questions, please, tell her. So our next speaker is also from a partner university in the HEBA project. So Mr. Elias Kinab, he's associate professor, faculty of engineering at the Lebanese University, which, as I said, also part of the HEBA project. And I'm always really amazed how much then in Lebanon is done, and how enthusiastic the people still are, despite the fact of the latest developments. Well, Elias, I think floor is yours. You have to show yourself.
Thank you for the presenting me. Also, I would like to thank Dr. Nasreen Ghaddar for receiving us online today in this conference. I will present also the challenges that we have in Lebanon and at the Lebanese University regarding the update and the reforms and the educational program related to HVAC and sustainable energy. We have, since you have started, Anna and Dr. Nasreen, we have almost the same challenges and related to the development of the curriculum. That's why this is my presentation will be today about our master program in renewable energy at the Lebanese University. So, and how we managed to have this master program. So, I will have a classical presentation, the program objective. I will also present the curriculum. Then I will have to show you some the relation between the HVAC education and the master in renewable energy that we offer in our university, and then the conclusion. So first, the Lebanese University is the national public university in Lebanon that was created in 1951. We have around 79,000 students that constitute around 40% of the higher education students in Lebanon, distributed on 19 faculties and 3 doctoral schools. That they are spread on 68 branches or sections of faculties and in the institute, spread all over the Lebanese regions, covering all the geographical locations in Lebanon. So from which we have the Faculty of Engineering that was founded in 1974, that has 2,000 engineering students distributed on 3 branches. In the north, Tripoli, in the Mount Lebanon, Rumye, and in Beirut, in Hadath campus. The Faculty of Engineering also has a mission to train high-level engineers with expertise on the field of civil engineering, mechanical, electrical, and chemical engineering. Within this Faculty of Engineering, there is 9 master programs, from which we have also initiated the Master of Renewable Energy. Why the Master of Renewable Energy? Because renewable energy sources nowadays has offered a new dimension to our society with technological, economic, and social challenges. And we have numerous initiatives, both at the level of research and industrial players, that gave a strong demand on the job market for engineers and qualified researchers. And we have appearance of new professions requiring a qualified workforce, in addition to technological and economic development around energy conversion systems. So this master that was initiated in 2010 of renewable energy will answer these challenges and will help to have qualified engineers and researchers to this mission. The objective that we have is to mainly train professionals, researchers, and engineers in energy efficiency and renewable energy, to give them skills, knowledge, and techniques to develop and implement renewable energy in different areas. Therefore, the graduate from this master will be specialists or experts in the field of renewable energy sources, or they can in the industry, or they can go to research centers and be researchers in cutting-edge technological poles for local and regional industrial centers, or pursue their PhD studies in different universities around the world. So deeply, the master objectives is to educate students on the problems related to the energy consumption on the global scale, the fossil resources depletion, global warming, air pollution. So these titles are included. In addition, we concentrate on the various forms of renewable energy, such as solar, wind, hydraulic, biomass, geothermal, and other renewable energies. And we give them techniques for the production, storage, and the use of energy. That there is a lot of development on these, especially the storage of energy. In addition, also, we have different strategy of connectivity. We learn them the connectivity with the electric network via dedicated electronic interfaces and methods of optimizing the energy flow by developing appropriate control laws, and also some other topics we concentrate on them. It is considered a research master, our program, so the curriculum. It is composed of 120 credits spread over 4 semesters. The first 2 semesters can be considered as the 5th year of engineering, since our engineering program in the Lebanese University is composed of 5 years of studies. So the 5th year can be considered as the two first semesters. Then the 3rd and the 4th semester are composed of 30 credits each. The first one, MR3, the student will learn courses related to renewable energy and energy efficiency, followed by a 2nd semester, which they have to work on a master thesis with a topic with a professor in a research center. So we start in February and we end in July. So the master thesis will be in between February and July. So the courses that we have are listed here in this slide. We have the energy efficiency, wind energy, hydroelectric energy, solar energy, that I personally teach this course, biomass energy, energy storage, evaluation of renewable energy projects, and we have some seminars on renewable energy given by professionals from the industry. And also we have a list of elective courses that I will list the modeling and optimization of thermal systems and green buildings with low energy consumption. So, for example, in the course of solar energy, I will show you how we have the updated, or we have a relation between this master and the HVAC education development. So we have introduced the passive and active approaches in heating and cooling, especially in the case of solar passive heating and the use of windows, how we can orientate the building and have the right properties for the windows in terms of solar heat gain coefficient and visible light transmittance, in addition to the U value. Also, we have in the new topics in the HVAC, related to solar cooling in terms of absorption cycle cooling and desiccant cooling. We also stress on thermal storage, and we give, for example, the principle of Trumbull, in addition to many other topics. So I'm just showing some examples here in our program. So the Trumbull, how the solar energy is stored in the wall after being captured by the glazing and trapped inside in the first level, and we have the direct gain in the second level. Also, we in the course also I participate in addition to my colleague Chantal Matou in giving the course Green Buildings, that in addition to the environmental indicators of energy, water, carbon, well-being, and transport and waste, we do also work on the energy indicator, which has to do a lot with the envelope development and envelope enhancement in terms of thermal insulation and also energy efficient cooling system, energy efficient heating system, energy modeling, and building performance. All these has to do with the HVAC education that has been introduced within this master. And we learn the student how to do the modeling, the energy modeling, and to the building performance, as we can see in this slide, or the comparison between the heating and cooling demand of an existing building and the heating and cooling demand of a new building. Also, in the seminars, we can have, each year we have professionals. Like, for example, last year we have a professional that from the industry that explained for the student the principle of the geothermal heat pumps and the relation with high energy efficiency ratio and coefficient of performance coupled to residential or commercial building. So after the first semester and the courses, we have the master's thesis. The master's thesis proposals are also, I will list here some master's thesis related to research to HVAC systems. I have a list here from the last 2 years. Like, for example, adaptation of seasonal performance standard for heat pump to Lebanese climate conditions, study of a combined system, mechanical vapor compression and CO2 and absorption cycle, coupling of solar water heater and an air source heat pump in Lebanon, transient hourly modeling of a geothermal system, study of optimal control strategies for energy system valuing the inertia of the building, optimization of a nice storage system, design of a solar refrigeration system, hybrid passive active solar water heating system, effect of facades type on building energy performance in Beirut, and many other topics and proposals that have been developed through the master since 10 years ago. So in conclusion, we have between 80 to 90 candidates every year that apply for this master. That in addition to having from different universities in Lebanon, Université Saint-Joseph, USG, AUB, LAU, Balamand, NDU, ISAC, Kinab, LIU, ABIU, and others. In addition to these students, we have also professionals, engineers that have 40, 50 years old that they want to continue their or to update their knowledge in renewable energy and energy efficiency, and they create an ambience or a connection between the young students and the world of professionals and the industry, as said by Dr. Nasreen Ghaddar, from which we admit between 35 to 40 admitted every year, and they register between 30 and 35. We have partnerships in Lebanon, France, and Canada. I will cite our partnership with the Université Saint-Joseph, that we have a solid partnership in this master. And we have a lot of students coming from École Supérieure d'Ingénieurs de Beyrouth, EZIB. And also we have the student from the universities are coming from the mechanical engineering background, electrical engineering, architecture, and civil engineering. We didn't have also, we didn't so far, we didn't have from business or economic, but it can be for the future. Especially that we have energy management and energy feasibility studies be done. That's it. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, also I will be waiting for your questions. Thank you, Wolfgang. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Elias, for this encouraging speech, and it's really amazing. I just got the figures of energy efficient building and renewable energies courses in Germany. Here the numbers are unfortunately declining in most of these universities and University of Applied Science, but here it seems to be very different, and that's fine. That's very good to see. Okay, so our last speaker, and then we go to the questions finally, is Hassan Younes. Very warm welcome. Here he is. And he is now from ASHRAE, the ASHRAE Falcon Chapter President, and he is from the ASHRAE Learning Institute. He's an instructor there, so and I'm very interesting for your speech about ASHRAE and education. Thank you very much and welcome.
Thank you very much. Welcome everyone to this session. So we've heard a couple of the presentations. We're talking about mainly courses coming from universities. Here I'm going to be talking about my own experience with the Global Training Center, ASHRAE Global Training Center, and what ASHRAE is offering at the moment that probably would be interesting to professionals. So personally, I've been an ASHRAE member since 2008, and I've been with the Global Training Center for a few years now. I'm a mechanical engineer. We have a consultancy. So we do a lot of designs. We work on commissioning, work on energy audits, energy efficiency, and a lot of sustainability as well. So at the Global Training Center, or the ASHRAE Learning Institute, and it started for a long time now, the idea was that there's a gap between when you graduate and you want to go to work, and that happened to me. So I graduated, I went to work, and I found that it's there's a bit of disconnect between what I've learned at the university and what I need to apply at my job. So I was looking, okay, how can I get more knowledge and practical experience other than my daily job? And it really depends on the environment you're in. So if your colleagues are willing to talk, to tell you about or share their experience, you'd be lucky. Sometimes you get the wrong information, so you have to be very careful when you're taking information as a young engineer from your colleagues or other professionals that you meet during projects. So it's very important to have a basis to go to. So ASHRAE to me was the, we work on ASHRAE standards. I was working in the UAE. I'm still working in the UAE. So we mainly follow ASHRAE standards. So ASHRAE standards were always kind of the Bible for me. I would go back and check. And then, if I have a technical argument with someone, I would go back to the ASHRAE standards or ASHRAE handbooks and tell them, well, as per ASHRAE, it says 1, 2, 3. This is the clause on this page. And that helped me a lot personally to advance in my career. So I started looking for courses. I found some online courses and some face-to-face courses with ASHRAE, and these helped me a lot personally. And then I think around maybe 4 years ago, when we started the Global Training Center, or 3 years ago, I was selected as one of the trainers. I was giving training with other entities like Association of Energy Engineers for the CM and with some other local entities. So the good thing about the ASHRAE courses is it really bridges the gap between theoretical and practical, and it gives you kind of the required information that you will be using during your day-to-day job. So as an example, I'll give you what kind of courses are being offered now. The courses are divided within currently 6 different topics. So we have the commissioning. Commissioning is a very important step in any building construction project. So it doesn't start at the end of the construction. It actually starts from the beginning of the project. And the commissioning agent or the commissioning provider is the entity or person that looks after the owner's project requirement, make sure that this has been or is being applied and properly applied throughout the whole project cycle, from concept design or pre-concept up to commissioning and actual startup of equipment and occupancy. So commissioning, we have many standards from ASHRAE and guidelines, or guidelines 0, which is the general commissioning procedure. There's some guidelines on the HVAC commissioning, and we have standard 202, which is the commissioning standard that was published a few years ago. So in the commissioning sector, let's say, or topics related to commissioning, we have the commissioning process in new and existing buildings. That's a one-day course. We have the commissioning process and stakeholder measurement. That's just 1 hour to give you a brief idea on what's required with commissioning and to understand some terminologies. We have one on building enclosure commissioning. That's a full-day course. And then for energy efficiency, since energy efficiency has been since 1975, probably, with the first ASHRAE 90 standard coming up in the US that looked into energy efficiency in buildings. Energy efficiency has been kind of a top priority with ASHRAE. So for the energy efficiency, there are many courses that are available with the ASHRAE Learning Institute and with the Global Training Center. There's one on advanced designs for net zero buildings, advanced high performance building design, basics of combined heat and power, commercial building energy audits. That personally I give that course. Designing toward net zero energy commercial buildings, also a course that we offered last month. District cooling and heating, especially that is a very hot topic in the GCC countries because we do a lot of district cooling. Effective energy management and new and existing buildings, and this course will be given next week, part of this conference. This is divided on 2 days, so it's normally one full day, but due to COVID, we're doing that online, and we're dividing it for 2 days. There are courses on energy efficiency in data centers, so on and so forth. So a lot of these courses. Now, these courses are a 1 day and a maximum of 3 days. The 3 days courses like the HVAC and R. We have a level 1 and level 2. Level 1 is for 3 days, and that's kind of a course that takes you from basic or from basics of air conditioning into how to apply these equations that you see in the ASHRAE publications, and how to do cooling loads, how to design ducts, how to design or select pumps, how to design piping, and it ends up with kind of a small exercise. Like a small building, do the cooling load and do some kind of basic ducting and piping. So it's very hands-on, and it helps you progress within your career. And then there are the standards and guidelines. So ASHRAE publishes a lot of standards. Most of them turn into codes in different jurisdictions, especially in the US, but also in different parts of the world. Like in the GCC, you find that and a lot of jurisdictions or a lot of municipalities would refer to a specific ASHRAE standard, like 90.1 for energy, 62.1 for ventilation. So we have specific courses on these standards, 90.1, 62.1. These are the main two ones, 189.1, which is on green buildings. So these are 1 day courses that will kind of dissect the standard and go through the standard point by point so you can and are more aware with the content of that standard. With my personal experience, whether it was on getting courses or taking courses with ASHRAE and then becoming a trainer, it really helped me a lot in advancing my career. Now, the last topic that was added recently is the COVID courses. So there are a couple of courses on how to reopen buildings after being closed during lockdown. What are the precautions that need to be taken with COVID-19? How does that affect energy consumption? So on and so forth. So any new topics or any new issues we have around the world, you see that ASHRAE always tries to create a course so that it will help practitioners to identify any issues and then apply these courses in their buildings. Other things that I wanted to highlight is the difference between, let's say, courses that are like 1 day, 3 days versus like a whole semester in a university. So here you would get a lot of information, but you don't expect yourself to become an expert at a subject. It is, let's say, for 6 hours, you understand probably the requirements, but it's an eye opener. And this is, I find sometimes comments from some of the attendees that they think that once you attend a 6 hours course or 3 days course, you'd become a master of that particular subject. It's not the case. It is more of an eye opener. Definitely the ones with the 3 days, it gives you much more information. But I want to highlight that point is that when you get into the course, you open a door that leads you to many other doors. So in the course, you'd get an idea or a specific reference or a publication that is important to you, and that course will tell you where to go and how to search for it. Plus all the basic knowledge that you'll be getting. Other than that, with ASHRAE, there are the certifications. So there are the courses that will expand your knowledge. But also, if you want to become a certified practitioner, there are many certificates that are available. So we have currently 6 certifications. I personally hold all of these certifications. So we have the HVAC design, certified HVAC designer. You don't need to take a course to become or to take the exam. You just need to be eligible. So you need to have minimum years of experience in HVAC design, and you can apply online. And now I think it's becoming easier. You used to have to go to a testing center where you take the exam. I think now they're trying to go into full online experience. You can do it from your home. So there's the commissioning, building commissioning professional, high performance building design professional, building energy assessment professional for existing buildings, healthcare facility design professional, which was actually the first ASHRAE course, ASHRAE certificate. And then there's the energy modeling professional and the building operation professional. So these courses that you take with ASHRAE kind of help you a bit in realizing or in achieving these certifications, because it gives you a good amount of knowledge, and it really helps in preparing for these certifications. These certifications will give you an edge over others if you have the certificate versus someone who doesn't have the certificate. Personally, I like when we're interviewing people at my company, I would really appreciate a person who has the certificate more than someone who does not have it, because I would know that he has been tested and he knows about the subject, compared to someone else that I really don't know if they are at the same level or not. So it's very important also as an engineer to try to get these certifications, whether it's from ASHRAE or other bodies. There are many other bodies that offer certifications. The one with ASHRAE are very well known. ASHRAE is very reputable, especially in the fields of sustainability, energy efficiency, and HVAC design. This is it for me. Honestly, I would recommend everyone to go to ashrae.org, become a member, check the courses. We have many courses coming up. We have one on the energy management that's happening part of this seminar or part of this event, which will be next week, I think on the 9th and the 10th. We have a course on the design of and energy efficient design of data centers. That's going to be, I think, in November as well. And there's one in December on commissioning. So if you're interested in these courses, go to the ashrae.org website, go to the Global Training Center. You'll find a list of different courses available. Unfortunately, with COVID now, we're not doing any physical training. So last year, part of the third edition of this particular event, we had courses done in Beirut. Unfortunately, we couldn't go to Beirut this year and be there with you. But hopefully, once this the COVID is done, we can restart or do these face-to-face trainings, because I think online trainings are really good. They offer, let's say, very similar experience, but being face-to-face and and having this interaction, I think, is a little bit better and gives an edge over online education, at least for these topics that I've noticed between the difference between the online versus the face-to-face meetings. Thank you very much. I'm happy to answer any questions you have on ASHRAE trainings or certifications as we go.
Well, thank you very much for that interesting speech. I think you're really in a good way training people, and that's very important also to train them after university or besides the university. But of course, as you mentioned, these short courses are not making you the full expert, just give you a glimpse about the different topics. Well, we have some questions in the group, but the first question from was, does UCL offer scholarships? But I think if you go to the chat group, I saw that this has been already answered. So there are links in the chat group.
Yeah, and just to mention that there is also dedicated, so there are UCL scholarships for across UCL, but we also have a dedicated scholarship for our MSc program, and this is offered to people who have been made an offer for a place. So yeah. People, please feel free to get in touch with me if you'd like further information about this.
Well, there was another question from my side to you, because we're discussing it heavily in our university currently to have a sustainability program in the whole university. So is that also happening in your university? Is it possible for you to convince your rectorate or whatever to also reduce the emissions of your own buildings?
Yes, so thanks. It's a great question. So we do have a really important initiative called Sustainable UCL, and we have a strategy, an environmental strategy, promoting this change across the university. So they have set a number of goals, including reducing energy consumption by 40% by 2024, and to achieve net zero carbon buildings by 2024, and a net zero carbon institution by 2030. So
okay.
targets, and so we are seeking to generate all our own renewable energy by 2030. Yeah, so and in terms of energy efficiency, to implement measures such as thermal insulation and energy efficient equipment across the campus. So I can post I'm afraid I cannot post links using the chat, but I can post it on the Q&A, but I can post it on the chat if people are interested.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just do so. Just post it there.
Sure. Thanks.
Thank you very much. That is again encouraging. But I think that's also part of the whole game, that we have the university shown as a role model and show the students that we can do it, and they can put their hands on their own.
Absolutely.
Okay, then there is a next question. Is the period of 6 months for research is very short? This may be considered as a project rather than research. What do you think? I think that was for the speech of Nesreen. No, that was after Nesreen. It was for the third speech. And I just look to the time. So for the Lebanese University. So.
Can you please repeat the question?
Okay, the question, Elias, that was for you. Yes. The period of 6 months for a research is very short. This may be considered as a project rather than a research. What do you think? I don't really know what he's referring to.
Actually, yes, this period of 6 months is short. That's why the student has the right to present his master's thesis in July. Otherwise, he also can present in September.
Okay.
So to be exact, it is between 6 and 9 months.
Okay, thank you. And then there's a question to AUB and LU. How do the MSc programs of renewable and efficient buildings help shape the Lebanese community? Is it linked with the policymakers? We do have the proper knowledge, but we don't have the wise policymakers. So it's a question, do you see possibilities with your research to influence the policy and shape the community change the psychology against energy efficiency, that it's not sparing something, but make it clever?
Okay, I can answer this question. I mean, whatever we do at the university does influence the practice in a sense. It was intentional to have a course in energy economics and policy, but that is not the only program we created to shape the energy policies in the country. We have another program that is more social science, which is a Master of Science in Energy Studies, that has a very strong component on policy, energy laws, and so on, with the students who have a technical background. Now, what we influence in the programs that we offer is basically the practice, because the practice sometimes drives the customer choices. To come to policies, we have tried actually to work on several projects that involved the industry. And part of the HIBA is really to expand our industrial stakeholders and offer services to them and to increase our involvement with them. Any of the programs that you find, they have an international or local advisory board for which we have communication with every year. And we get feedback from them so that we shape our curriculum. Whether they apply or not, they have a lot of interest in what we do. But when you have the system is broken somewhere, so what we're doing is more, we're making the practitioners aware. It is like, bottom-up approach, at least in Lebanon, to make it changes on different things. And I think people by practice, this is happening. But there are other entities that are working on policies, and probably they can join hands with us. But for the practice is definitely being influenced.
Well, thank you very much. And I think all of the work of the university is always somehow reacting with the policy or interacting with the policy. I think we should be, let's say, some of independent advisors here, or take that role. But I think we have to be independent, scientifically driven, and not all the ways. Okay, next question is, does the American University of Beirut offer scholarships for students in regional universities, e.g. the Australian College of Kuwait, for master programs?
I'm not sure I understand the question, but we do offer graduate assistantships for the master program, the in-person master program. For the online programs, no, because they are priced at a cheaper rate than the regular programs. There is a tendency now with the new diploma to have a higher tuition, but also offer some financial financial aid mechanism to boost the enrollment in the program. But these are still, schemes, because right now we're just offering this in a beta version. And hopefully next year the pricing will be done at higher level. It's not my call.
But this is open for other countries around in your region.
It's open to everybody.
Yes. Okay.
If I may say something, at the Lebanese University we have only registration fees. It is the public university in Lebanon. So.
Okay, and it's also open for students from other countries.
It is open, but so they might have to pay some fees, but they are not high fees.
Okay.
It depends on the conventions that we have between the countries. So it depends on the countries that the student is applying from.
Well, and then there is a last question in terms of research collaboration and incentives for research outcomes. How UCL or AUB act? Any international funding body there, like, for example, the Kuwait Foundation for the Advancement of Sciences?
AUB, we get EU funding. We did get funding from Kuwait Foundation for Advancement of Science and projects in collaboration with Kuwait University. We are getting funding, external funding for research from Qatar Foundation. And the external funding has really helped us move a lot. I think I'll leave the floor to Anna, but Wolfgang, I've sent you a question in the chat because as panelist, I cannot add questions, and it is to Anna. So if you kindly read it and also address it after this one.
Yeah.
So thanks so much, Nasreen. So just to answer the question about research collaborations, UCL is a global university. We are trying to address global challenges, and of course, in order to achieve this, we are trying to really have international collaborations. So although a lot of our work is UK focused through UK research councils, we also receive significant EU funding. So there are many EU projects going on at the moment. But of course, we're also constantly exploring other funding routes to maximize international collaborations. Such a funding vehicle is the Newton Fund. I can post a link for this online, and its aim is to develop science and innovation partnerships that promote the economic development and welfare of collaborating countries. So even though I don't have such funding myself, I have been involved in similar proposals in the past, and I know that other colleagues have received funding. But yeah, we are very keen to do more, to have more collaborations with international partners. And on your question, Nasreen, so I'll read it out if that's okay. So it was about how UCL arrived to this ideal interdisciplinary MSc program, how many instructors are involved in the integrated building design module, and what are the profiles of faculty involved in teaching this course. So thank you so much for this great question, because it really gives me the opportunity to speak a little bit more about our program. So in terms of how we developed it, how we came up with the idea, how we identify the need to develop this MSc program. So I think this very much stemmed from our research in this area. So our institute is a very vibrant community of academics, PhD students, undergraduate and postgraduate students, and of course postdoc researchers. So we're all active researchers in this field. There is a really good mix of architects, mechanical engineers, civil engineers, urban planners, building physicists, and I think we also have people with a less traditional / a less orthodox background, if you'd like. So we have social scientists, people with expertise in system dynamics, psychologists, and so on. So we're really a truly interdisciplinary group. So we are all active in this area, and I think for many years now, as I said, we were working on this research theme of unintended consequences of energy efficient design. So I'm a big believer of energy efficient design. I think it's absolutely crucial to implement this kind of strategies at the building stock level in order to address the very urgent climate change mitigation targets that we have set for ourselves. But what I think is missing, perhaps, I'm mainly talking about the UK because that's what I'm familiar with. I think what's perhaps missing is this integrated building design approach, where we're thinking about building performance throughout the whole year under different operational regimes, taking into account of vulnerability factors for different types, different segments of the population, etc. And this integration between energy efficiency and strategies aiming to promote health, well-being, and comfort inside our buildings, and increasing focus on the human dimension and the human building interaction. So these were the kind of sort of thoughts that were at the back of our minds as we were doing research in this area. And of course, it was the rise of the well-being agendas and the establishment of rating schemes such as the WELL standard that really led to the identification of this need in the market and the development of this novel MSc program. Now, in terms of how many instructors are involved, so I don't know if you were asking about the MSc program overall or the modular lead.
The specific course, that you talked about of the integrated building design. It's the course.
Yeah.
Is it one instructor or a group of instructors? How is the dynamics of that course?
So for the overall MSc program, I mean, there are many colleagues that probably don't know the exact number because we have 8 modules and a lot of guest lectures as well from industry speakers and so on. So for each one of these modules, there is one module lead, but then there are a lot of other colleagues that contribute. Now, for my own module, which runs in term 1, Integrated Building Design for Health, Comfort and Well-being. So I deliver, I have the oversight of the program and I deliver the lectures on thermal comfort, the overview of the relationship between health and green buildings, the content on urban microclimate, urban heat islands and healthy urban design. And of course, at the building scale, thermal comfort and natural ventilation strategies. And then I have different colleagues who then deliver the content on mechanical ventilation strategies, indoor air quality, light and lighting, acoustic design. And then I have a range of industry speakers from companies such as Foster and Partners, who towards the end of the term deliver guest talks on case studies and offer this industry perspective. And of course, in addition to this, because it's a very hands-on module and we have this group coursework, we also have a big group. We split up the students into smaller groups of 4 or 5 students. And then we have a number of design tutors that deliver those tutorials. So at the moment, I have 3 excellent colleagues, both with great industry experience that help out with the design tutorials. And of course, we have a separate training session. We call it Computing Week. So I have 2 other colleagues. They're both postdocs within our institute, and they deliver the design builder training. So I think that's in a nutshell. It's quite a lot of work trying to, administer everything. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell. But of course, we have a lot of input, like you said, Nesrine, just to say thanks to everyone for their amazing presentations. I'm really amazed at the work done across all the various programs that were presented. But like you, we have an advisory board, so they constantly provide feedback. And I think what you said, about having this community of professionals is so important, and having this constant feedback loop, I think it's really important in terms of both responding to market challenges, as well as, shaping the market ourselves, because I think it's our responsibility as academics to really help shape the environment in which we are acting. So sorry for taking up too much time with the answer.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot. Also, I see you are really burning for that issue, and that's a good thing. And we have a lot of work to do, and yes, we try always to get the students on board. And integrated planning is a very big issue, I think. Also building into information modeling is part of that, and so lots of stuff coming up, which maybe. As long as I always pointed it's 2 main problems. So sorry for me also starting speaking a bit. One problem is that the buildings are only rated for investment cost and never for operating costs. So the total cost of the building is somehow it's a discrepancy with normal economic thinking. And why do you think the credit I pay back to the bank every month is more worthy than the operating cost I have every month? And well, the second is we have so many different languages on the building sector, and everybody wants to sell you something. And who is the one of knowing what is the best offer or what is the cheapest offer, and who can decide? So that's one of the problems we have on site. So if you have a general planner, it's nice, and he can minimize the cost and has a total overview. But this means again integrated planning. So if you can say, well, if you make a good shading system and you save a lot of cost in the HVAC system by that, and if you can put these costs to each other, then it's nice. But as long as everybody's just selling you stuff, and then they sell you smart buildings with a lot of electronics that nobody needs, and you have to redo every 10 years because you don't get spare parts anymore, then this is not a good building. That's a stupid building. So one of my sayings is only stupid buildings need artificial intelligence.
That's a really good call.
Okay, so we need the architects, we need the civil engineers, we need the mechanical engineers, and all together we should make good buildings finally for the user. Okay, let's have a look if there is anything that popped anything up. Well, there is a new one, the stewardship in UCL depends also on the CV or only on the university grades?
Yeah, so we carry out a full assessment of your application, so it doesn't only depend on your grades. We look at the motivation letter and your entire CV. So yeah, anything that's relevant to to your career so far, and also your motivation behind selecting this MSc program. So we're not only looking at grades; we're looking at the full profile of the candidate.
Okay. Good. So I think, Nesreen, we did in time. Do you want to have some closing remarks on the whole thing, or?
And really, thank you very much for all those who have attended and this opportunity to exchange information about how to shape the curriculum when you are considering built environment and the well-being of the people at the same time, and how the research connects. I think this question is going to remain valid for the future and how we evolve and where we are heading. But our collaboration has actually has taken us to another level. And this is very important. I'm very thankful for those who have attended, for the speakers, the panelists, and to Wolfgang in particular for running this session.
Okay. So, well, thank you very much, Nesreen, and I wish you all the best in Lebanon, that you come back to more quiet times, inshallah, hopefully. Inshallah, yes. Okay, we discussed that word and how it was spelled in German a long time. Yes, I like it. Okay, so all the best to everybody here, and I think I just can say keep relaxed. COVID will be over somewhen, and don't get set up and don't get nervous, because that doesn't help. Okay, thanks a lot to all of you.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, bye.
Thank you.